Can't remember what it was. We're on live. We're on live early. It's episode number 131 of Tetrakey TV, and I came on live early because Mark was whinging about his sore leg and about how he can't tell the time on his Gucci watch because his heart rate's just spiked.
Yeah, but why did it spike?
He spikes because I called him a girl.
Yes, just called me a girl. Achilles is really sore
because he's got a really sore leg. Yes, we thought we'd come on and say hi, see who's going to come and join us this evening. If you do join us, welcome. And if you do join us, just leave us a comment and let us know where you're coming from this evening. What part of the world. It's been a busy day. It's been a busy day. Mark's been in the ivory towers of a large South African corporation today. How's that for you?
Yeah, it was good today, actually. We're doing a lot of work at the moment on lead and lag indicators to really understand and align the initiatives to those lead and lag indicators to ensure that we know which levers to pull to drive the outcome that the business desires.
Cool.
That was today.
Cool. And today for me, I started working with 2 new clients today, which was very exciting. Somebody who's, I think, going to be making some big life changes. In fact, everybody making big life changes. All around, has some intriguing conversations around the purpose of business earlier in particular, and how it's moved over the past, I think it's moved significantly in the past 10 to 15 years, like significant globally. The purpose of business and what it is businesses strive to do, even how businesses make money. Anybody who would think that Amazon makes money out of selling stuff online would be naive. Amazon makes money by having one of the biggest databases on the population of the earth. That's how Amazon makes its money and trades off that. It trades off data. It's a data business. Anyway, so that's how our days have been. It's 9 o'clock, and Mark came up with this evening's title, which I can't remember.
Running away from the truth.
Oh yeah,
my rant.
Yeah, go on then.
So I think too many of us are constantly looking for solutions. They are looking for answers everywhere, and they are too scared to look inside themselves and accept sometimes what the truth. And if you look at, again, I'm just going to use an example around, I've got this bugbear around participation, especially in certain schooling environments as well, where you get a reward
just for being present.
For being present. Seriously, just drives me insane.
Congratulations, and we have 32 gold medalists this evening.
Congratulations. Just don't. For me, I'm very worried about what kind of message we are producing, as we're sending into the next generation around. The world is a tough, hard place, and it is full of hard knocks, and it is full of suffering.
Jeepers, that's cheerful.
Well, it's the reality though. Like you read the news, and news sells and suffering sells. It's just the way the world is.
Yeah.
And the way that a lot of us grow and learn about ourselves is how we deal through pain. It's how we get through suffering. And both of us have gone through real tough parts of our lives, and it's moulded us and shaped us into the person we are. And I personally don't believe I would be A, doing what I'm doing at the moment. I don't believe B, I would be having the same outlook on life as I do at the moment if I wouldn't have gone through that suffering. If I wouldn't have had to look deep inside myself to say, you are dealing with grief and you're dealing with loss. You're experiencing loss. How are you going to get through that truth? I think that's one critical thing.
So we have to be, though, 100% grateful for the outputs of 100% of the output of every experience. So whilst in the moment that grief is amazingly raw, powerful, painful, whatever else, on the other side of gratitude for it is you wouldn't be sat here right now saying these things and having these thoughts to support other people without it.
Exactly, it's helped me grow. But again, if you talk about grief as a thing, how many times when I was going through the grief of loss did people come up with, oh, it will get better, or time will heal, or just shut up. Seriously, shut up. You know nothing about it. It's okay to grieve. When people say, come on, get over with it, it's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not I'm not done with reflecting internally about the truths that I'm facing. So I get very frustrated with these self-help motivational books. You've got to look inside yourself to understand and get the reality from yourself. And you've got to surround yourself where people go, okay, Rob, you are not Albert Einstein. Okay, it's the truth. You are not a genius. Imagine if some people, they'll feel like a flipping hammer's being, what? I'm not a genius. But we're so scared of truths. Mark is never going to beat Usain Bolt in 100 metres. I'm okay with that. I'm not fast. Good. I guess I've got a weak leg and stuff, blah, 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 blah. But it's the truth. But again, I'm using these truths as extremes. But I think we've got to bring these truths much closer to home. And again, it's how do we ensure that our egos do not block our ability to hear truth? Because without understanding and hearing truths and accepting truths, how are you going to grow? So if you want to be, and then you've got to think about your goal. So, Rob, you're not Albert Einstein, you're not a genius, but maybe your goal and your value is to be cleverer, increase your knowledge. So therefore, you've got to make a plan to go, right, I'm accepting the truth that I'm not a genius. I'm accepting the truth I'm never going to be a genius, but I have a goal to increase my knowledge. I don't want to be thick, not that you're thick. But I'm having a goal to increase my knowledge. So I know what to do now to go away and do it. But unless you accept the truth and hear the truth and align it to what you want to do. So hence, well done, you got a participation award. What is that, Dilly? What is that giving you? It's giving you nothing.
What did I hear about the other day? A retention bonus.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, you didn't hit your targets last year, but we want to keep you in the business, so here's your bonus anyway. What a fucking joke. Oh, pardon my language. But it's interesting because we were talking about, just before we came online, about if you want to be a multi-millionaire in a business, and you've got your own business or you want to set your own business up, through Google and YouTube, you can learn everything that you need to learn, every strategy, every structure, everything factually is there for you to go and become a multi-millionaire. In fact, just this guy, Russell Brunson, if you go and check out Funnel Hacker TV or something like that, he actually goes online and says, this is what I've done today, this is why I'm doing it, this is how it's going to produce $6 million in revenue for my business in the next 3 days. He goes and he tells you step by step how to do it. And so it's not about, the truth of the matter is that you don't need new strategy, you don't need new ideas, you need the ability to implement what it is that you've got. That's the truth. And there's something that stops people from accepting the fact that it's not a lack of ideas and marketing strategy and whatever else. It's something inside their heads that's preventing them from going and finding the material, learning the material, building their plan from what they've learnt, engaging with mentors, and then overcoming their fears, or probably fears that are preventing them from being good enough.
Yeah, I think that's where Rob and I are we're selective, and we turn down clients very, very quickly if we, in our first conversation, we point out their truths. So it's not it's their truths, it's what they've said, and we're pointing those truths, we're holding that mirror back to their face, and they say no, then they're not willing or ready to actually make the step forward that they need in order to achieve what they want to achieve. So they can say, I want to be I want to do this, but my friends, you've got to work. There's no pill that you can suddenly take. Like, yes, God mock me, but at the moment I'm on a health drive. I want to get fitter. I want to get back to how I was 3-4 years ago. There is no pill that I can take to get fit.
No.
I have to put the work in, and it bloody hurts.
But it goes back to that comfort versus discomfort. And when discomfort happens to us, we we accept it, we don't like it, it hurts, and we're reluctant to consciously and purposefully bring discomfort upon ourselves.
Yeah.
And yet, the only way you are going to go and achieve those goals is to accept the truth that you need to bring that discomfort on yourself. You need to take that larger risk. You need to do whatever it might be. There is that Einstein quote that the thought process that's created your problem is not going to not be the same one that solves the problem. So we have to go into that uncomfortable place to go and do it. I was talking about sales webinars and stuff like that earlier today. Right, I'm going to do it, but I honestly tell you, it's kind of scary. Putting yourself out there like that. I remember the first Facebook Live I did.
That's because you don't put your makeup on.
Yeah, I know. But now Facebook Live is just something that we do.
Yeah.
There's a friend of mine actually who's she's a really, 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 really remarkable sales lady. Left school at the age of 18, no qualifications, parents couldn't afford for her to go to university, and now she's the sales director of a large job, and about every 18 months she gets headhunted and moves to a new sales position. And now has got an amazing job. And she says that sales is a simple, activity-driven process that nobody is good at when they start. She said she's never met a good salesperson who can honestly say, oh, I loved picking up the phone and cold calling, or I loved knocking on doors, or I loved standing up and public speaking, or I loved writing proposals, or whatever it might be. But it's an activity-driven process. So you start doing the activity and you suck, you're resilient, and you learn from the suck. And if you do it more and keep learning and refining, eventually you'll get good at it. It's like getting fit.
Yeah, I think and again, if I look at where we are in the world, that takes perseverance and it takes a dedication to improve your skills. And I'm so frustrated at the moment. There's this whole thing you read on blogs and rubbish about you too can be extraordinary. If everybody is extraordinary, then you're not extraordinary. All you've done is you've just raised the average from ordinary to extraordinary.
Correct. I mean, let's take that. Everybody can be extraordinary in a way.
Well, no, in their own world.
In their own world. Or maybe at something everybody can be extraordinary. Everybody's got their own degrees of talent, shall we say. My opinion is that it's the expectation over how fast you can become extraordinary that is the blocker. There's the Goleman's 10,000 hour thing. Now, it's been proved and disproved in many different ways. Lots of people debate it, but the whole concept that it takes a large period of perseverance, discomfort, learning, and time to become extraordinary at something.
Yeah, but that's becoming an expert. Becoming an expert and becoming extraordinary is two different
things. Okay, but I mean, it takes time. It's not going to be. There is no such thing as a quick win or quick large chunks of money.
I agree, but my point is, if we go around telling everybody that you could be extraordinary, I just think we're setting people up for failure because it goes back to the truth. Some people and some things, and again, depending how we define extraordinary, it could be something that's a global measure that you have to stand out from the crowd globally. I'm not extraordinary. In a global way, I'm not extraordinary. In my circle and my sphere of influence, some people may say you have extraordinary skills, but I'm not extraordinary. But yet we spend our time. So again, I'm happy with that. But the truth we have, I'm going back to this participation stuff. But if we're rewarding participation and then we tell everybody, if you do this, you can be extraordinary, and then guess what? They don't become extraordinary. How we'd literally we can't. I'm just very, very fearful at the moment that we are setting up so many people for failure because we're not pushing people hard enough to face up to their truths, accept their truths, and then work on aligning their goals to their truths.
So in some respects, what you're saying is people aren't honest enough with themselves about where they're starting from.
Correct.
It's like what's the benchmark of starting to grow from?
Yeah, and I'm not saying push yourself down. I'm not saying turn around and go, I'm rubbish. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying be honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself.
So if you've got a desire to barbecue or braai, drink beer every night of the week, all weekends, have hangovers, you don't particularly want to work productively, by our definition of productive, for much more really than a few hours a day, and you walk around the workplace, and then your goal is by the end of next year I'm going to be a multi-squillionaire. Yes. You're just kidding yourself because your starting point, you're not being truthful with what your starting point is.
Correct.
And so people can achieve greatness, depending on what they define greatness to be. But the steps to greatness, like how big great is, how big is achievable in what time scale, is it depends upon what your starting point be. So you couldn't be as fast as Usain Bolt now.
No.
Had you started sprinting at a young age, could you have been an Olympic sprinter? Possibly.
Never know.
Possibly. But age 56, it's quite...
My body 56, yeah.
Yeah. Age 56, it's almost impossible now for you to go and be a Olympic sprinter.
Correct.
Because your benchmark starting point, your truth, is you started too late.
Correct. And I believe...
But you could run marathons.
I could, yeah. Which
like
is fine.
as a good club runner.
Yes.
That's highly possible.
Correct. But to sort of finish off my rant, I just think we need to be a lot more comfortable in being more truthful with ourselves in terms of where we sit, where we are, and stop always looking for answers outside when the answers start from inside. That's my words of wisdom for tonight.
Awesome. We'll read that piece of research just to finish off from my side. Was it at the end of last year, beginning of middle of last year maybe? And we went through and looked at all the clients we'd worked with and what were their blockers to achieving stuff. Was it marketing? Was it funding? Was it strategy? Whatever else? And
surprise.
72% of the people who we've worked with over the past 15 to 20 years each, so combined sort of 40 years worth of performance acceleration and coaching experience, 72% was what was inside their own heads.
They were the blockers.
That was the blocker. It wasn't anything else. Yes, that other stuff pays a up to 28% part, and there's chunks of marketing and strategy and funding. We get all that in there, but 72%, and in my experience, most of that is fear. Fear and a lack of honesty. And I suppose even a lack of honesty comes from, or a lack of truth comes from the fear of accepting what the truth is.
Exactly. Hence, no more blooming participation awards, please. So if you're responsible for children or environments where you can give out participation awards, just think what message you are sending to those people, and also ask those people, is that something that I really value? Because I'm pretty sure we are making assumptions that are fundamentally wrong. If I gave my son a participation award, he would throw it in my face or put it in the bin. How dare you insult me? And I'm not joking. He would look at me, and he's 8. He would look at me and go, "You're just insulting me."
There we go. So that's it for this evening.
I enjoyed that rant.
You enjoyed that rant. What we'd really like is some comments on this rant in any of the YouTube, Facebook, whatever else boxes below. Let us know your thoughts around medals for participation, where you get 30 odd gold medals in a class of kids. Retention bonuses because somebody hasn't performed, but we want to keep them in the business. Anything like that's commonplace. Let us know. If you want a hand working with your truths, get in touch. We'll give you a hand. It's a very empowering place to start from. That's it from us, and we will both see you very soon.
Not me tomorrow night.
Nope, one of us tomorrow night. Mark's in an aeroplane sometime tomorrow night. So stay well, stay awesome, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.